The B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The move.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out! Here we go! You wanna mess with us? Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground. You wanna mess with us?
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to the B Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Greg Unchained. Today is, I think this is coming out Thursday. We're still nailing down this new schedule, but it's the flagship show. It's the time we sit down and talk about all the things going on in the entire wacky, wonderful world of pro wrestling. Joining me to do so, Mr. Mysterious. How are you, brother?
Feeling great. Just looking forward to covering everything, and I believe in you, Greg. I think you'll get it done on time.
Oh, what we say on time? There's no schedule yet, so we haven't nailed down a schedule yet. I think this comes out Thursdays. The last one came out Thursday, but it came out at like 11:58 Thursday night. So
It still counts. It still counts.
Well, it would have been Friday in Sydney and Melbourne, but it was Thursday where I was, so I count that for sure.
Same for me.
Also joining us, Ben. How you doing, buddy?
Good, thanks. Now, I need a gimmick name. What's going on here? We've got Greg Unchained and Mr. Mysterious, so I've never really had a nickname at all in my life, so we've got to fix something out,
You've
man.
never had a nickname at all.
Wow.
Well, I do have like a recent one. At work, the boss calls me the sheriff because my last name's Wyatt, so we've got the Wyatt Earp thing going on, but that's only a work thing, really.
Yeah.
Never had one at football or anything like that.
We could call you the Fiend, right? That's a Wyatt.
Yes, okay. The Fiend. The sexual fiend.
The sexual Fiend.
Oh,
Where did
hey,
the sexual
where did
come
that
from?
Well, that's the word. When I think fiend, like that's the word that goes with it. So
I'm gonna leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. But you're here to talk to. You can be Ben Tokyo. How about that? Because you're here to talk to us about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I do believe.
Yes, that's what I contribute to the show. I squeezed in as much of the New Japan stuff that I could in the last 24 hours. Been very busy with work, so.
Yeah, I understand, man. Watching wrestling at all is like you can pick any one promotion, and to be a loyalist to that promotion, it's almost a full-time job. Even Impact have a lot of shows if you really want to look into it. Like it's ridiculous.
Absolutely, they do.
I didn't even realize until last night that Impact is just free to watch on Twitch, like outside of America. I saw a link and it's like, I wonder if this works in Australia. And it's like, it just started streaming Impact. It's like, I could start watching this, couldn't I? But
yeah, if you watch it live, I think it's like Saturday during the day for us, like Saturday around 11 a.m.
How come not enough people know about this? Or does everybody know except for me?
I feel like
No,
everybody knows and nobody cares.
It's the advertising as well. Like just the channel they were on in America. It's all been a mess. That might change. We might be talking about that in a second soon.
Yeah, we will be talking about it shortly. But let's go to your home base, Benny Tokyo. What have you got for us in way of New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Okay, well, the Super J Cup has just gone online, like within like the last couple of hours. At this,
about time.
with only Japanese commentary at the moment. But as far as I know, Kevin Kelly has done or is doing, like within the last couple of days, the English commentary for it. So I don't know if I can be asked going back at this point because what's this, like 3 weeks ago now?
That's a while ago now. Yeah, that's a while ago. I'll probably go back and watch the Robbie Eagles matches, and that's about it.
There's a lot of word of mouth online for people have to make sure they go and see this match. Like I think Amazing Red and Will Ospreay, that's one of them, but I haven't heard much at all about the others so far.
Yeah, no, definitely. And TJP, I think he had a couple of matches that look good on paper as well. So I might have a look at it, but it's a while ago now. And just with the pace, like we talked about, it's a full-time job to keep up with wrestling. And with the pace of things at the moment, there's not really much point in going back.
But watching wrestling is a hobby, but then when you feel like the pressure, that's like, got to watch all this. Like when it's becomes a chore, then it's not so much fun, and you start overloading yourself, catching up on things that are weeks old. So, yeah,
I still have lots of fun doing that though.
It's the work rate era, everybody.
Yeah,
we need to bask in it.
I still have lots of fun doing that. What about? So the Super J Cup's online, and we talked about that a little bit last week about how long it was taking, and Royal Quest and stuff as well. Royal Quest, we talked about Kenta and his concussion. Turns out he didn't actually have a concussion.
I didn't see the news. I only
Did you
just
see
saw
that?
it like in the notes here. So a stinger, he did hit the back of his head, but then it knocked him fairly loopy. Then he couldn't stand up afterwards very well. So is that what the stinger does? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was unconscious for a minute. He was unconscious for a bit, but he didn't have a concussion, according to because he went to the hospital straight after, and it was ruled that he didn't suffer a concussion at all. So I like I said in the notes, I'm like, I guess it was just a stinger. Like it was just a bad bump. He got knocked out temporarily, and then he sort of came to slowly. According to reports, Tomohiro Ishii noticed that there was something wrong, and he was pulling his punches a little more, especially towards the head. But the rest of the
Not
match,
his headbutts though.
it didn't look like he was
No.
pulling his punches, but he says he was. And the match went according to plan, apparently. Like everything that was supposed to happen in the match happened in the match. I guess it just took Kenta a minute to sort of come to after being knocked unconscious. But that's good. It's good that he didn't have a concussion. Like we should be happy about this.
Yeah, so he's back in action like next week, it must be next week. He's got that match against Kota Ibushi, who hasn't been on this tour so far of the 4 or 5 shows on the road to Destructions. There's no Ibushi.
That's one of the best things about New Japan is the way they cycle talent. Keep people fresh.
It's definitely a good thing. But currently we've got the Young Lions Cup. We have 2 matches a night on these Road 2 shows. So far, just looking at the leaderboards, everyone's had 2 matches. Alex Coughlin, Carl Fredericks, Shota Umino, all on 4 points. They've got
Yes,
Narita,
Carl Fredericks,
Mark
baby.
Connors, Yota Tsuji, Michael Richards, all on 2. And then sitting at the bottom of the barrel is Yuya Uemura, which, God, I hope they change his name after he has an excursion, because I'm pretty good with Japanese names. But this one, it's a tough one. Yeah. What do you
struggle,
think? They've got to
struggle with
give
Uemura.
him something a bit more, rolls off the tongue.
So it's
Uemura.
Yuya Uemura.
But I've got to
right?
stop and think about it every time. So
yeah. Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy to say. Like I watch, obviously Japanese wrestling and a lot of anime as well. I'm a big anime guy, and it's probably the most difficult Japanese name I've ever had to try to pronounce.
Yeah. That sounds like a mouthful.
Utami Hayashishita is
with
close.
the LA Dojo guys here. So
Yeah.
it's hard to think which one do I want to say. Like you got Coughlin, Carl, and Clark Connors here. It's just these K's and C's. Like I have to stop and think which one's Clark Connors and Alex Coughlin at times. But so far, like Carl Fredericks, so this is the first time I've really seen him wrestle. And he seems like way ahead of the pack for me. Like this guy,
I'm a Carl Fredericks guy.
He's got a much more evolved moveset than everybody else that's been in these matches so far. Like he's jumping up, doing like diving elbows, and like he's got a really good vertical jump by the looks of things. Like he's jumping up really high and then bringing down like that boot for those stomps as well.
I wonder what his background is, athletically speaking.
Yeah, you'd think maybe track and field or something with the way he's jumping around. But I think they have added like English commentary for the first 3 nights. So it's just Kevin Kelly in the booth. And he does say something about he played college football, I think. So
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a footballer, but he's very athletic. He's got the look, man. Like he's for me, a lot of people are very high on Clark Connors as well, but from the very first time I saw them, I can't remember what show it was at. It was one of the American shows, and it's this Carl Fredericks guy. He's had I'm big on him. And out of the Japanese class, obviously I'm a big shooter guy, and I like Yuya Uemura as well.
Definitely got it. He looks like a wrestler. Yota Tsuji is a bit more of the. Yota Tsuji looks so much older than the rest of them, and he's got the beard, he's unkept hair, and he just I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him.
I find him bland, to be honest, Tsuji. And I know that Young Lions are supposed to be bland, but like if you look at the latest, couple of lots of Young Lions, they're not always bland. But Tsuji is very bland to me. I don't see.
Doesn't show the fire when everybody else saw the fire. But we did get an airplane spin in one of his matches. I'm thinking that's not really a Young Lion type of move here. But
that's not approved.
So what? There must have been 8 matches. Then I guess that's how the math works. 7 of them ended with either a Boston crab or a single leg crab. So you're gonna see that in a lot of these matches,
as is tradition.
Yes. In the final of these matches so far. So we had Shota and Ren Narita. Narita wins with the German suplex pin, but Narita kicked out on 3, or like was that a botch? Was he meant to kick out? Like it's 1, 2, 3. It's like, oh no, that was a kick out. The referee, Marty Asami, turned around. He's like, no, that was a 3 count. It's like, oh shit, okay, that didn't look like it was meant to happen, but who knows?
it could have been like a very last second kick out that to keep him strong. Like, I should have won that match. The referee was too far. That kind of thing. But are they doing post match comments for the Young Lions?
Yeah. So on night one, I did. It's the first time I've ever just like, I want to sit down and watch all the backstage comments, and I sort of watched throughout the whole show, and then I showed to Umino. He's backstage. He goes, "I'm going to win next time," or like it's just like one line, and then he was off. And then like I'm watching the other match backstage comments. And like Hiroshi Tenzan, it's like he wouldn't shut up. He was talking for minutes, but it was still fun. Seeing like backstage promo with Ospreay and Robbie Eagles together, that was nice to see. Saying about how they're challenging for the junior tag titles.
The tag titles.
Who was Taiji Ishimori? Like I've never watched him say anything, but like he was quite enjoyable. And he even goes talking about having to face. Eagles and Ospreay, and he's saying about Robbie Eagles that I kind of miss him though. So
he's quite charismatic, Taiji Ishimori, and a good-looking dude too.
Geez, the body on him, like absolutely shredded. That guy, it's insane. He's so tiny as well.
Yeah, New Japan have a ridiculous amount of good-looking people.
Oh yeah, definitely
on the roster. That's ridiculous.
Now, before we get too far away from the Young Lions, talking about people that aren't good-looking, like Michael Richards. What do you guys think of Michael Richards? Because this guy, like, he's just doing these absolutely ridiculous facial expressions. He doesn't look like a wrestler. Like, do they owe Farley something to put this guy in this? And he made Uemura tap out in their first round match, and then he beat by Shota in the second round match. But I can't say I'm a fan of Richards.
I mean, look, he's a New Zealand guy. He's from the Farley Dojo. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, and so I haven't watched all of the Young Lions Cup matches. I'm just giving my thoughts on the Young Lions as I've seen them, and I haven't seen enough of Michael Richards to comment, to be honest with you.
He did,
but looking at him, he looks like a wrestler.
Okay,
you don't think
when he's in the ring with like a Carl Fredericks or somebody like that, though, it's just like, what's this joke?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Carl Fredericks has a look, like he has the look.
Yeah, he's got the mean mug down.
Even in the Young Lion tights and stuff, like the trunks, he's still got the hair. He's still got the tattoos, right? But Michael Richards is bald and has a beard. How can you say he doesn't look like a wrestler? It's not like he's fat or anything. Like he's still an athletic looking dude, and he's bald and he's got a beard. That sounds like a wrestler to me, especially in black trunks. He's Goldberg or Stone Cold Steve Austin right there.
Okay, all right. We can agree to disagree on this guy. But he did... Well, I'm just picking at him now. Absolutely shocking Boston Crab. It was... when The Rock does the sharpshooter? It was like that. Yeah. Leaned all the way forward and just like no pressure on the legs at all. It didn't look good. But
you know who he looks like to me, Michael Richards? He looks like if Michael Elgin drew up Michael Elgin.
Yeah.
Like he's like a baby version. He's like baby Michael Elgin. Like, look at him.
It's like Dragon Ball. He hasn't evolved yet into Michael Elgin.
Yeah, like a Pokemon. It's
God.
like Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise. You go Michael Richards, Michael Elgin, Bray Wyatt.
He could be his son. Yeah.
The hair grows.
I haven't even reached my final form.
Right? Yeah. so I'm just like except no, because Michael Richards is more athletic than both of those guys too. Like looking at him. Anyway,
the hair.
We're spending way too much time on Michael Richards, but I haven't seen. Considering I haven't seen much of his wrestling, we're spending way too much time on him. But there was something else that happened on these Road to Destruction shows. Jay White stole the IWGP Intercontinental title.
Yes, I didn't see this because I was just watching the Young Lions matches and then the main event from the fourth night.
Right. So it happened after one of the tag matches between LIJ and Bullet Club laid him out at the end and just ran off. He just ran off with the title. And he's cutting a promo about how it's going to be his anyway. He's the latest to add his name to the list of people who want to be dual champion. So it looks like someone's going to be dual champion walking out of Tokyo.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah. I just hope it's not NATO because I'm not a NATO guy. Like, I don't think it'll be Jay White, but if they did something crazy and make Jay White do it, because it seems like Gedo really likes doing things with Jay White just to subvert the audience. Yeah. I
Jay
want
White or
Ibushi the most. But,
They've been teasing that for too long.
Yeah. I think we'll get a lot of heat for saying we don't want NATO, but I'm
NATO spits
I like
on
NATO,
people.
but
like, fuck him.
Don't think he's the guy. but I just don't think he's the guy. I don't like the fact that he throws the belt either, like the IC belt. I don't like the way he disrespected it.
It's him and him and Jay White both spat on each other on one of these nights. I did see that gif. It's just disgusting. Like, I'm so sick of it.
That's the one thing I don't like about Sami Callihan. Have you seen Sami Callihan do the spit spots?
No.
Ugh,
He's
it's
gotten
so
better,
gross.
thankfully.
So
Thank
gross.
God.
But that does it for our New Japan talk. Now, I understand that before you go, you wanted to hit us with some mystery segment.
Yes, so I thought...
This makes me feel very uncomfortable as the guy running the show. But
well, all you're going to do different is add in some background quiz music, perhaps, because I've got a quiz. I want to do a quiz because it was Yuji Nagata's 35th anniversary on the most recent one of these shows. So they had a Bullet Club versus New Japan Dads match, 5 versus 5. So Yuji Nagata got to tap out Jado, I think it was, in that one. But nice. I've got a quiz, 5 questions on Yuji Nagata. So,
oh man, I'm gonna fail this miserably. I'm a relatively new Japan fan.
Oh, no, well, it's not. Let's just see how we go. I tried to make it as easy as possible. So to buzz in, you got to say buzz, and then say the name of a dead wrestler, and then you get to have your turn. Yeah,
Of a dead wrestler. Okay.
And so
all right,
this is for both of you. All right. So question 1, and this is the what's the rules? If you go over the number, then you're out. So,
all right.
Question 1: how many matches has Yuji Nagata had?
Harley Race. Oh yeah.
Go, Greg.
Okay. I'm gonna say 375.
Well, how many matches has in 35 years?
Well, I don't know, man.
Okay. Sorry.
You said not to go over. If I go over, I'm out. I assume if I go under, I get more guesses.
Mysterious, do you want to buzz in and go for the steal?
I'm gonna probably say about.
You got to buzz and say a dead wrestler.
Okay, Eddie Guerrero, 1500.
Okay, you're the closest. The answer was 3.
These rules were not laid out because all you said was if you go over, you're out. So I went very conservative and thought I could build up.
The rules don't matter. 3,054 matches in his career.
I call Schadenfreude.
Question number 2. What 2 colours make blue? Because he is Blue Justice. So you can get either one of these colours. Who was the dead wrestler? Sorry, Mysterion?
Benoit.
Okay.
Oh.
To make... What?
Controversial
Factual.
choice.
Factual, shush. To make blue... Oh, I was going to go yellow.
Blue's a primary
green,
colour.
Yeah, it's a primary,
Yeah, well, I googled what 2 colours make blue, and there is an answer, so...
You don't make blue.
Oh
Blue's a
my God,
primary colour.
You can use 2 colours to make blue.
Schadenfreude.
Oh my God.
It's one of the fancy colours.
Purple and yellow?
No. You only have to get one of them to get a point. Greg, you going to buzz in?
I
Okay.
disagree with this question in principle.
Yeah.
Come on, we're meant to be having fun here.
All right, I'll say indigo and white. I don't know. That's not even a
Well,
color.
you didn't give
white.
a buzz in, but okay. No. Yeah, I would have taken cyan or magenta. Those 2 colours together make blue.
Man,
Hack. I call hack.
yeah, this is. I'm 90% sure you can't make blue. Like it's a primary color. I feel like school has lied
Well, I
to me.
googled it, so the internet doesn't lie. Question 3.
Oh, the internet's never wrong.
Yuji Nagata debuted in September 14th, 1992. At this time, who was the WWF champion? So, September 14th, 1992.
Bzz, China.
Go.
China is the dead wrestler, not the answer. So we're looking for the WWE champion in September
14th,
92.
because there was 2 different champions in this month.
Ooh. I have no idea, but I'm going to throw it out there and say Bret Hart.
No.
Is that before Bret Hart?
Mysterious? You going to buzz in?
I'm just gonna go.
Got a buzz? Got a buzz?
Like Hogan? Oh, shit. Viscera Hogan.
Incorrect. Greg, do you want to go again?
Is it Shawn Michaels then?
No.
No?
Mysterious?
My knowledge of the early 90s is wearing a bit thin right now. No, I'm going to tap out.
Greg, one more guess.
September 1992. 1992.
Yep.
WWF champion.
Yep.
Diesel.
Incorrect. The answer is, of course, Ric Flair.
Ric Flair.
Yes.
In 1992. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Is that the year he won the Rumble?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That would make
Yeah.
sense.
See,
yeah.
I'm awful with history, man. I'm awful with. I can barely remember things that happened last week.
Okay. Question 4. Don't worry, we're getting through it. So, WCW NWO Revenge is my favorite wrestling video game of all time, which just so happens to have
Solid
Yuji
choice.
Nagata in it. One of the rare, still active wrestlers that's in this game from like 1997. He's on the roster page, WCW3. Who are any of the other wrestlers that are on his same page? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrestlers he shares the screen with.
Oh man.
Yep.
Andre the Giant. Again, not an answer. That's my dead wrestler. Man, okay, so I remember this game hard, and I just went for Aki Man a lot. Is Aki Man
Yeah,
on this profile, on this page?
No, he was in EWF, I think. He was in that roster page.
Damn.
Mysterious, did you play this game at all?
I did not know.
Well, if you guess some like low card 1997 WCW wrestlers, you'll get there. We've got one that's still very much active. There's at least one retired one, and there's a WWE Hall of Famer.
I'd throw LA Park in there just for hell
Got
of
a
it.
buzz
He's in
first.
the game. He is in the game.
Buzz first, and then say LA Park.
But he's not dead.
Oh god. No, like you said, one is still active. Like, oh my
You got a
god.
buzz. There we go.
Bzz, bzz, Mean Gene, LA Park.
Yes, correct. You're on the board.
Well, Can I guess someone else that may have been on the same page? Because
Yep.
you said lower card guys, and I'm just thinking of like the random people I used to play in this fucking game. So I need to dead wrestler first, right? Bzz, Ultimate Warrior, not the answer. That's my dead wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Scott Norton.
No, I don't. Oh, he was on the game, wasn't he?
He was on the game. 100%
yeah.
remember he was
Yeah.
in the game.
I don't think I ever played as him.
Mortis was Mortis in the game? I can't even remember.
Yeah, Mortis was in there. He was like the fourth skin for Chris Canyon. No, so the other
Glacier.
people.
I used to play as
people-
Glacier a lot too.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, he had a super kick as his finisher. It was cool. So the other wrestlers on his page was Larry Zbyszko, the Barbarian, Lapaka, Stevie Ray, and Wrath.
Man, you just getting La Parker out of fucking nowhere. That was pure luck.
That was good.
You haven't even played the game.
WCW, LA Park, undercard, becoming a big guy now. I'm an LLW
I used
guy,
to
brother.
always do. I always like to have Rick Steiner versus Scott Steiner. Was like one of my favorite matches to play on that. I don't know why. I always liked being Rick Steiner and beating the shit out
I
of
love
Scott
playing
Steiner.
as Scott Hall and Kevin Nash just because the finishers were so cool on it.
Well, La Parker was great because La Parker
Yeah,
started
have
the match with a
Royal
chair.
Rumble Battle Royal, and he runs out with the chair as well.
Mm-hmm.
Final question.
Yeah.
So, Yuji Nagata has been IWGP champion twice in his career. Name either of the people that he'd beaten for the title. One of them, I've never heard of. The other one, we all know him.
Oh. Are they active now? Either of them?
One of them very much is. I don't know who the other guy is.
You know, I want to buzz, but I'm having more trouble thinking of a dead wrestler than I like. There's layers to this. All right, bzz,
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
Hey, Greg? Yes.
He's dead, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You see, that's the thing is, you don't want to say someone and then be like, "Oh wait, they're not actually dead."
Just their career.
So yeah. All right. I'm gonna say Tanahashi.
Correct.
Hey, I
We've
got
got
the
a
point.
1-1 draw. Well, I don't have a tiebreaker. I bet you're really bummed out that I've got no more questions.
Got a tiebreaker. Where's he
No.
from?
Where's?
Yamaguchi Prefecture.
Are you looking up his profile now? Are you?
No, I just threw that out there because it's the one name of the prefectures that I remember all the time for some reason. I just always remember Yamaguchi Prefecture. Is that where he's from?
I don't know.
Because that'd be amazing if it was. Like, I just threw that out there randomly. I'm looking it up now.
Oh, wait.
Eugene-
Okay, I wrote down some other stuff about him. I forgot to. No, nothing out of here I can make out of quiz. But I should also mention that he's now 51 years old. He's got the 5th longest IWGP heavyweight title reign of all time, so 392 days. And he did have the record for 10 defenses in one reign, which was beaten by Tanahashi with his 11. And then is the only wrestler to have won the G1, that was in 2001, the Champions Carnival from All Japan in 2011, and Pro Wrestling Noah's Global League in 2013. He has a 0-2 MMA record, and he made the Wrestler Observer newsletter Hall of Fame in 2018. So, yeah, and
Big
he can
career
still
for
go.
Blue
Like,
Justice.
if I see they have a singles match for him, like, I'm absolutely watching that. Like, he is underused still.
Yeah. No, he's. I mean, look, when they came down here, he was one of the guys that got the biggest pop in Adelaide when they did the tour.
I'd like to see him challenge Kenta for the never open weight. That'd be fun.
Alrighty. So that was New Japan with Ben Tokyo. We're gonna move on, Ben, and we're gonna start talking about the rest of the wrestling world. We got some WWE, some AEW, and some Impact. Surprisingly, Impact has made it onto the flagship show. So before we do, I'm gonna hit you with some words from our sponsors.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/thebplus and subscribe today. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. All right, and we are back. We're going to talk some All Elite Wrestling. We're going to talk some WWE. We're going to talk everything that's happening in the world of professional wrestling. Mr. Mysterious, how are you feeling after our abysmal attempts at Ben Tokyo's quiz?
I'm feeling very mentally drained. I was all prepared and in the zone for everything that we're going to talk about, and like Ben just threw a curveball at us, and I'm not ready.
Mystery segment. I don't know if I approve these mystery segments. No, it was a lot of fun. It Came out of left field, though, man. I was not prepared for that at all.
We need to up our game.
Yeah, we do, clearly. I'm just, generally speaking, I'm not good at trivia. Like, even things I know a lot about, you start asking me trivia questions, I'm like, blue? Which, by the way, is a primary color! I'm still mad about that. Anyway, let's talk about WWE. Let's get it out of the way, because we know WWE is sort of the hardest for us to talk about. What's big going on in the world of WWE this week?
Legal battles. We can start off with there. Now, Greg, when I say the phrase "the man," who do you think of?
Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch, as do I. But according to the Nature Boy, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, apparently he is the one true man, and he is suing WWE for that title.
Yeah, so he's complaining about the trademark, or the man trademark, right? So he's going through a legal battle. He's in touch with their lawyers and whatnot. But his whole thing was, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
And he
never explicitly said, "I'm the man that you have to beat." All he ever said was, "To be the man, you got to beat the man." I don't think he has a case here, me personally.
And no one calls as I introduce him. He's the Nature Boy. Everyone calls him Nate. Like, it's
no one refers to him as the man, right?
And if anyone was if he ever tried to trademark Nature Boy, like freaking like Buddy Rogers, like the guy he stole all of his gimmick from before him.
Yeah. You know what? He could probably trademark Space Mountain, right?
He could,
as a name for a penis. Space Mountain was his penis. I don't know if you...
Oh, the amount of times that it's been ridden on. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, no, I don't see it, man. But he's it just came out on TMZ, right? Like, he was talking to TMZ reporters outside the airport, and obviously, I mean, I don't know. You want him to make his money and get his pay and be treated fairly, but I don't know if you can really say that the man belongs to Ric Flair. I think that most WWE fans, even like lapsed fans who only know little bits and pieces, would probably go, "Oh yeah, that's Becky Lynch, right?"
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would immediately go to Ric Flair in their mind for that.
I just feel bad for Charlotte, just with all this going on. She's probably just like, "Just stop, Dad." It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't affect her. I mean, they're a very professional outfit these days, allegedly, so I don't think it will affect her push or lack thereof.
And like, you got bloody Taylor Swift had the song "The Man" that came out recently. I think he was like trying to argue with her as well. I mean, it's all over the place.
Look, Ric Flair versus Taylor Swift. That's a legal battle I'd like to see. Ric Flair versus WWE. They're just gonna tie him up in court forever. Like, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think, like, maybe hopefully they come to some kind of agreement and settle. Oh, because like, you don't want to see big ugly legal battles at all, and I really don't think he has a case. And I think maybe he just needs a bit of a payday, and then he can go his way and be happy. You know?
Yeah.
Just toss him a little bit of sympathy money. Like, yes, Rick, yes, we understand you were the man. Okay. Thank you very much.
Good Nate.
Yeah. NXT on USA, right? That's happening soon. That's coming in, what, a week?
Just over a week, yeah.
Yeah, just over a week as we're recording this, NXT on USA. And so, is it counter-programming? Is it not counter-programming? Well, we found out now that it's going to be, so it's supposed to be moving to 2 hours on USA, right? However, for the first 2 weeks, it's going to be the first hour on NXT. The first hour of NXT is going to be live on USA, and the second hour is still going to stream on the network. And the debut of 2 hour NXT on USA live, that's not happening until October 2nd. What else is happening October 2nd? I don't know. The date sounds familiar.
I think this company, like, with like Cody Rhodes and like the Young Bucks, like, I don't know if you heard of it, or Elite Wrestling.
Elite Everything Wrestling, something like that. Yeah. All right, they're going live on TNT, wrestling on TNT for the first time in 20 years. But it's not counter-programming, you guys. They moved to our night. NXT's always been on Wednesday. This is blatant. This is absolutely blatant counter programming. Like, yeah, we're going to go to 2 hours. This has always been the plan. And it's always been the plan to hold off on the first 2 weeks. Fuck off. It's so ridiculous.
They
The
tried.
narrative. Oh, man.
They tried for the life of them to get it done, like the 2 hours starting next week.
They just
But
couldn't
the
do it.
problem is,
Right.
that, yeah, with I think Suits is having their like final 2 episodes for their finale. They could not move Suits, so they're like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna have the
Suits
second hour.
It's too
Yeah.
important.
Clearly,
Side note, though, I love Suits. It's a very entertaining show.
it is.
But
We have lives
good old
outside of
Harvey.
wrestling, guys. God.
Good old Harvey. Do you reckon he's going to die? I don't know. I'm not up to date. I'm like 2 seasons behind, so I have no idea what's going on in Suits at the moment. But no, I don't believe that for a goddamn second. This is counter programming. And you watch. We'll get the announcements soon on that 3rd week. We're going to have an NXT reunion special kicking off the first live 2-hour NXT on USA. Seth Rollins, former NXT champion. Roman Reigns, former NXT superstar. Bray Wyatt. You watch. It'll happen. It'll happen.
It's just like the lack of creativity and just like we'll just throw stars. Like it's just
That's all right though. Like it's good for the business. Going head to head is going to be good for the business. I think it's going to be entertaining to see. But just for them to come out and be like, "Oh, this isn't counter programming. This has been something we've been working on for a long time." And how come? Well, isn't that something Triple H said on one of these interviews? Like, how come no one asks why they moved to Wednesday night? Like, we've always been on Wednesday night on the network. Like, come on, that's bullshit. Like, yes, you've always been on Wednesday night on a streaming platform behind a paywall. Like, you can't. That's not. They're not counter programming you. They announced that they're going live on TV, and you're like, oh, by the way, we're moving to TV in the exact same time slot, and we're waiting for the exact week that they start for us to start. Bullshit, you're not counter programming. It's exactly what you're doing. It's textbook WWE. And it's fine. Just own it. That's the thing to me. If you just own it and just admit it, yeah, we're counter programming. This is a war. Awesome. Good tactic.
It's like I don't want to admit that it's a war, but it's everything is like proving them wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious to me. Do you see NXT is going to be remaining in Full Sail too?
Yeah, I saw this. We've been hearing reports for the past few weeks. So they reckon till at least December. I think there was the last message I saw.
Yeah, but now there's
a
a press release has come out from Full Sail, and they've extended their partnership with WWE, and it looks like the wording, it's not explicit, but it does look like the NXT on USA live 2 hours every Wednesday is going to be filmed at Full Sail moving forward. They're talking about the exciting opportunities that being live on USA presents to their students, moving through 2020 and all this sort of stuff. So it looks like it's going to be sticking around, which you got to wonder if they're going to be able to keep drawing on that crowd. Like, because having the crowd come out once a month for a massive taping is different to having them every week on a work night.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out for him, but it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
See if it works out for him.
Yeah. Other WWE news, we have Ronda Rousey has been moved to the alumni section on WWE.com.
Very subtle thing here.
Yeah.
Last we heard, she's lost both her fingers doing a TV show.
Yes.
They got them reattached.
The fingers weren't lost as part of the impregnation vacation.
No, definitely not.
No. Fingers don't get that job done. God, look, it's not as bad as the sexual fiend. That came out of nowhere. All right? This was a solid joke.
But yeah, Ronda Rousey, just one of the things, like, you just casually sweeping through the roster for WWE.com. It's just like a subtle, like, oh, we don't know what's happening with her. Like, maybe she's having a bit more time off than they first thought. Like, I thought maybe like she'd come back around by Royal Rumble time, WrestleMania. I don't know. Like, maybe it'll have to be a bit longer, I suppose.
Well, if she's moved to the alumni section, do we know if she's coming back at all?
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, is she still on the contract? She'd have to be.
You watch her get announced for the Hall of Fame 2020.
Oh my God. The one great, like, to be fair, like, she's had the best debut year of
rookie
anyone.
year ever, Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
I honestly wouldn't put it past them to just put her in the Hall of Fame. Like, oh no, she's done now. She's gone. She's gonna go live on a farm, but we're gonna make her a Hall of Famer because she's Ronda fucking Rousey. She would be the first person to be in both the UFC and WWE Hall of Fames.
Oh, I can see that being a big selling point for them just to pull the trigger on that straight away.
How pissed off do you reckon Brock would be, though? Like, is that enough? If they put Ronda Rousey... Like, I'm talking out my ass here. I don't actually think they're going to put Ronda Rousey in the Hall of Fame.
No.
But imagine if they did. If they put Ronda Rousey in the Hall of Fame before they put Brock Lesnar in the Hall of Fame, is that enough for Brock Lesnar to go, I'm going to go wrestle some matches for All Elite Wrestling?
Am I a joke to you?
This is ridiculous. A woman? He goes home and beats up Sable a little.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying. It wouldn't be the first time it happened to her. Anyway.
What else is going
Should
on,
I
Greg?
cut that out? Should I edit that? Is that taking it a little bit too far? Don't disrespect Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he's a wife beater. We forget about that. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anyway. Yeah. Sure. I'm gonna leave all of that in.
Well, someone who actually wants to beat Brock Lesnar one day is a gentleman in NXT by the name of Matt Riddle, and he's making headlines at the moment this week.
Yeah, no one likes him, apparently.
No one
I
likes him.
can't tell if this is a shoot or a work.
I feel like it's a shoot.
Really? But he seems so likable.
Yeah.
He seems like such a nice dude.
He is a very likable dude, but just I think the amount of the fact that he's so carefree on social media, I'm sure like everyone's probably like, dude, just chill out, like just stop
Maybe
it
it's
now.
because he has to get
Like
piss
the
tested
attack
now,
on
so he
Goldberg.
doesn't get to smoke as much of the 420.
Maybe
Because
Yeah.
when I
That
met
could
him,
be very possible.
when people here met him at World Series Wrestling, you know, he was a bit baked. So all the reports I've heard from people that have met him and said he's a really nice guy, it's from when he's a bit baked.
Yeah.
So maybe he's struggling at the performance center. No, but he went on Twitter. This is why I think it could be a work. It's all on Twitter, and you know they use Twitter for works now. And so he's posted a video. He's like, you know, it's all the piece of trash hags whose cars were too full to take me to work today. Like, I hate you all and you're garbage. And then this is where the is it a shoot or is it a work thing comes from. Is Tommaso Ciampa tweets back. He's just like, the boys will police themselves, aka go fuck yourself. And then where it's like, oh, maybe it's a work, is Matt Riddle says, well, he said the F word, so you know this is real. And I'm like, is it real? I can't tell anymore! I don't know what's happening!
Oh, are we in the Matrix?
Am I real?
Is it?
Who's that in the mirror looking back at me?
A broken man, by the sounds of it.
Reflection show who I am. Mulan? No? Just me?
Yeah, no,
Best
No.
Disney movie.
hands down.
Yeah, just putting that out there. Mushu, the cricket, is the greatest. It's the greatest. We'll defeat the Huns. So I can't tell if this is a shoot or a work. Matt Riddle, apparently disliked by everyone. You think it could come back to the Goldberg and social media and all that stuff, right?
I feel like it is, yes.
That's fair. Maybe he's talked too much shit, but surely most of the people there agree with him. I do.
I think even if he's right, it's just the way he's conducting himself. It's just not. It's not the way they do business, and
This is why people don't like me either, though, right? Like, I don't like. I just don't care, you know. Like, I know what's right, I know what's wrong, and I say what's right, and I say what's wrong, and that's all there is to it. And if you're a blunt, honest person, sometimes people are like, yeah, you may be being honest, but you're a dick. And it's like, I'm not a dick, I'm just blunt, right? And I think maybe he's suffering from a little of that too. And look, I can vouch, it's not a way to make friends. So, Matt Riddle, maybe blunt, loosen the edges, soften the edges. That's what I'm looking for. Don't be so blunt. Maybe that'll help you in your professional career. But I will lose respect for you. Personally.
only time will tell.
Yeah. The WWE have announced that their announcers are going to be brand exclusive moving forward. Good move Good move.
Very good move.
I don't believe them. The second ratings drop for a minute, they'll be like, and Michael Cole's on everything!
Oh, my.
And here's Undertaker! What's that? The ratings dropped again? Here's Undertaker! It's Undertaker versus Undertaker!
Well, they sold out Madison Square Garden for Raw. Like, they finally got around to it, like the last second. Thanks, Steve. But no, I it would be a nice idea to have the announcers. Like, and granted, like you have the Fox show, the Fox Sports show that they're going to try and do. They might move like Renee Young to there, and yeah, I can see a shake-up happening with the announcers. But I would hope that it would be permanent.
Yeah, look, and there's allegedly going to be a new brand split, new draft happening in October. You got to presume NXT will be a part of that as well. You got to hope NXT will be a part of that because. You know, we want to see some people go back to NXT. Can we please get Cesaro in NXT, please?
NXT UK or NXT?
Just NXT. Like he can be the NXT champion. You know, I don't know. There's some guys that I think could benefit from going back to NXT. One of them was actually I like him on Raw and SmackDown as well. But one of them was fired by Shane McMahon on SmackDown this week. I'm talking, of course, Kevin Owens. So they ran an angle there with the King of the Ring finals. The semifinals, where Elias was injured, and so Shane McMahon replaced him. Kevin Owens had to referee. Things didn't go the way Shane wanted them to, so he fired him. And now he's actually teasing that he might go back to NXT. Did you see his tweet?
I did, actually. So yeah, very cryptic. 14, 24, 20.
Yeah, which when you translate it to letters of the alphabet, 14 is N, 24 is X, and 20 is T in XT.
Yes.
So, good thing it wasn't 1, 5, 19. No, 23. AEW.
That would be, yeah.
Is E the 5th? It's the 5th, right?
E's the 5th,
yeah,
yes.
Sweet. I just sang the song in my head to try to figure that out. Anyway, the King of the Ring finals have been bumped off Clash of Champions, which we'll look at the card in a second. They've been bumped off Clash of Champions, proving what we already knew. Vince McMahon and anyone at WWE do not give a shit about King of the Ring.
And you would think, like, because this is Clash of Champions, not Night of Champions. You would think they're trying to make it like, oh, every match on the card is a title match. But that's not true because you have Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan having a match. So if that's the reason they're bumping off the King of the Ring finals, then that makes no sense. And I was looking forward to to make it feel special. King of the Ring, Clash of Champions.
Yeah, they've moved it to Raw. But
apparently,
and I mean, look, Clash of Champions, for what it's worth, it's going to be too long anyway. You know, so is it really going to kill you to have the match that you've been building to for over a month that we've all known was going to take place here? Right? Like, just let the Cruiserweight title just happen on 205 Live. Right? Like, I don't know. Anyway, should we look at the Clash of Champions card now?
I think we'll say for a second. So we got the final. So how about we say? So who have you got to win?
Well, so it's coming down to Chad Gable and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's winning, right? Like we've said this from the beginning now.
Yeah, King Corbin. Like you did, like you put it in my head. I like the idea of like Elvis Elias, and now that's not going to happen.
I wanted the King of Rock to return, but unfortunately he broke his ankle for shoot, and so he's been taken out. It's got to be Baron Corbin at this stage.
Yeah. And I was worried when I saw Shane back. Like, did you hear why he's been away for so long?
No.
So, like, no joke. Like, so he's been off SmackDown for the past few weeks, which you can tell because it's gotten significantly better. But he was in jury duty.
Oh wow, nice.
No joke. Like, he just could not avoid jury duty. He was off SmackDown for a few weeks, and then like, oh yeah, like you heard the rumors that like Vince McMahon didn't have enough like a story plan for him, which would be complete bullshit. But it just, casual jury duty.
Goes,
even
guys.
Shane McMahon.
McMahon's are people too.
McMahon's is people too.
McMahon's are people too. Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I think it's got to be Baron Corbin at this point. I can't imagine they're going to go with King Shorty G.
Yeah.
Has he got that name yet? He's still Chad Gable. He's not Shorty G
He
yet.
hasn't got the name yet, but they are making fun of his height.
Yeah.
Significantly more. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see King Shorty G. Unless he's going to be like the shortest, unless they're going to like go with a Farquaad gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, Lord Farquaad
Yep.
from Shrek. He's tiny.
Wanted to marry Fiona. Yep. All that.
Yeah. They could do that. Who would Fiona be? Who would Shrek be? Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens and his family, and Shorty G tries to marry Kevin Owens' wife. There we go. Book it, Vince. Just so we can get Kevin Owens saying, I've got layers like an onion.
Wrestling.
Huzzah! Oh, we didn't talk about Bray Wyatt and his 11-19. Ooh.
Speaking of numbers, yeah.
Ooh, 11-19.
So-
What does it mean?
Well, some conspiracy theorists, which I thought would appeal to you greatly. So
That's why I brought it up.
initially, when on the episode of Firefly Funhouse, it was the numbers on Abby's digital clock was 316 because of Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's been
And
stuck
then
there
Bray's
since Stone Cold showed up, yeah.
And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll fix it." Waxed it a few times, changed to 11-19. Now, you might think that it would be like a date 19th of November, but that's like a Tuesday, and SmackDown would already move to Fox by then.
Yeah, so it'll be
So
on
that doesn't make
Fridays.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some people have noticed that Undertaker, his official debut, his very first match was the 19th of November, 1990. So 11-19. So some people are theorizing that Bray Wyatt could be targeting the Undertaker.
Targeting the Undertaker. That would make sense because Undertaker was on SmackDown because ratings. Yeah,
Mhm.
I guess that makes sense. I like some of the more intricate ones that just sort of lend to the character. So it's not that necessarily that they're building to anything, but just that you know, he's referencing, you know, Bible verses is the obvious one. You got Revelation 11:19. Then in heaven the temple of God was opened and the Ark of the Covenant could be seen inside the temple. Right? You got the Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, "Here is a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners, but wisdom is proved right by her deeds." That's in Matthew 11:19. I don't know what these have to do with anything, but so this is from SE Scoops, this one, and I love this one. In some psychic numerology practices, which I was talking to some people on Stationhead about numerology literally yesterday, and numerology is fascinating. Like if you're a conspiracy theorist and, you know, they hide the truth in numbers and we don't know the power of numbers. So in some psychic numerology practices, 11-19 is considered a triple hour, right? This is because it's got the 1-1-1 all in a row, right? So I guess another triple hour would be 10 o'clock exactly, right? Because it'd have a 1000.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a triple hour as well. But the 11-19 triple hour is associated with the guardian angel Lahayaha, who is the god of obedience. Now, this is a quote here. This angel is using the triple mirror hour 11-19 to let you know that he will get rid of any inferiority or superiority complex from your mind, all while protecting you from your competitive spirit. He will also distance you from unfaithful and unreliable people. By his side, you will no longer be the victim of aggression, dispute, conflict, anger, and more. Now, does that sound like Bray Wyatt to you? Because it does to me.
That sounds like the Fiend to a T.
Yeah. So, you know, it could be you're as deep as that, and with no real purpose other than just to give us more insight into the mind, the wonderful, wacky mind of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. And it's the best thing about WWE at the moment.
He is. It's
Without question. The best thing about WWE at the moment. And the only question is, how long till they fuck it up? Like, that's the... And I hate being that guy. But I'm really enjoying Bray Wyatt's work. And I always have. But they always fuck it up at some point. And so I worry with Bray Wyatt.
I mean, like, the other thing was the highlight. It was the 24/7 title picture, but now it's just like, it's just our truth. It's just... it's kind of losing its luster with me. It's just our truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become a bit of a one-note joke. Let's look at the Clash of Champions card, though. We'll start at the bottom and scroll up to the top.
Sure.
So we have probably on the pre-show the Cruiserweight Championship, Drew Gulak versus Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado.
Mhm.
Doubt anyone cares at this point. But
I watch 205 live, so I care.
well, okay, fair enough. I don't mean it in a bad way. I just like it's the best wrestling show other than NXT under the WWE banner. But it's even the people backstage don't seem to care about it. Drew Gulak retains. That's my prediction here.
I agree. Drew Gulak, like, he's
a great champion.
He's a great champion, and people need to recognize him as such. Yeah.
Right, so the women's tag team championships are on the line between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. They're the champions at the moment, taking on Fire and Desire. Who you got for this one?
I see Alexa and Nikki holding on to. They've lost quite a few matches recently, so you need to remind people that
that's what they do in WWE. Is champions lose.
But you need to remind them that no, champions should win when it counts.
Yeah. So Bliss and Nikki Cross to retain. I think I agree with you there. New Day versus The Revival for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Aren't The Revival on Raw? Does it matter? Who cares? I don't know. New Day win.
New Day win.
Yeah.
And like, granted, I want to ask you, so is Kofi a dual champion because the New Day doing Freebird with that tag title?
I mean, they haven't, but yes.
Okay. Because like that's the thing that like, they haven't referenced it, but like because you have Seth who's the dual champ, and it's like, well, is Kofi technically a dual champ at the moment?
I would say yes, because New Day do Freebird, generally speaking.
Yeah,
it can be any two of them. So I would say yes, but I don't see him pulling double duty.
No, not right now.
Yeah. So then we got the Raw Tag Team Championship. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman taking on Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. It's still so weird calling him Robert Roode.
The most dominant tag team in Raw today. Rudolph beating like the Revival, beating Heavy Machinery, like established tag teams. Nah, throw in Rudolph.
Yeah. They got to win, right, just to get the title off Seth.
I don't know if it's like, oh, can Braun and Seth get along? I can see if it's going to be the championship squabble, then yeah. I think Rudolph might get it. But
yeah, and then we move towards the Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman program. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we have AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander got a clean win over AJ Styles in that 10-man tag team match in Madison Square Garden. And so now he gets a US title shot, to which I'm like, did Vince fall asleep?
I mean...
Cedric Alexander getting a title shot? What is happening?
Like, you had him, like, Chad Gable main evented on SmackDown, man. Like, the reins are slowly loosening.
Oh, well, let's see how long it lasts. I'm here for this, man. I'm pulling for Cedric Alexander. I don't think he's going to win the title, but I'm pulling for him.
No.
I want him to. He's one of the guys responsible for some of the best matches in WWE in the last year. Himself, Buddy Murphy, Ali. Like, these guys have had just bangers after bangers after bangers, you know?
Yeah, it's the work rate in 205 Live, like bringing those guys up, it means only great things. And granted, I think AJ Styles will retain because you need to keep him looking strong.
I saw a post on WWE Facebook the other day, which was basically a social media form of Viagra. I had an erection for 7 hours. I had to check in with my doctor. But basically, it was teasing the idea of Ali and Ricochet as a tag team. Like, they were like, superheroes are real, and it had Ali and Ricochet. And I was just like, if those two were a fucking tag team, man. I mean, I know I like established tag teams, but oh my god. Ricochet and Ali, are you kidding me?
That would be amazing.
How good would that tag team be?
And like, you would think, like, with Ali, like, he was meant to have that push that Kofi Kingston had. Like, you need to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to take tag titles, sure, why not?
I don't know if Ali's religion would allow him to team with someone who refers to themselves as the one and only, though.
I'm sure they can come to some kind of agreement.
No,
take the king out of his Twitter handle, he'll be fine.
I'm taking the piss, but no, seriously, I would love that team so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, huge erection when I saw that post, and then I realized, no, it's just social media. They're not actually. Boo. Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz. Intercontinental Championship. That's a title that still exists. These are wrestlers that are still signed.
I feel like Miz is going to win this for the sole reason that Miz will get his 9th IC title reign which is currently the longest reign is held by Chris Jericho. So I think as a
like the
big
most amount of
epic-
reigns, you mean?
most amount of reigns, yeah, Chris Jericho has the 9.
Right.
I think it's going to happen.
So they're going to give it to the Miz so they can boot Jericho from the record books. That makes a lot of sense. I wonder if Miz will lose the title at a steakhouse.
We could happen. Like, what a week it's been. Like, well, I don't want to skip ahead just yet, but what a week it's been.
Yeah. So then we have the Roman Reigns versus Eric Rowan match that you touched on earlier. Roman Reigns wins, lol. Unless, I mean, it's a no DQ. Maybe we see some shenanigans and Rowan picks up the win.
Oh, maybe they actually explain, like, did Eric, I don't even know if he actually did.
He did.
Attack Roman.
He did. He says he did.
It doesn't make sense to me.
He says he did, and we #believe women.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I'm sure he said he did. So, I'm pretty sure that's established fact at this point.
Okay. I don't know. It just seems very convoluted to me, but yeah, Roman wins, lol.
Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. One half of the 4 horsewomen colliding. This one's for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Who do we see walking out with the blue and white?
Bayley.
Yeah, we want Bayley to retain. And what about the red and white? Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, who you got here?
I got Sasha. Just give them the former tag team champions, give them both the belts, and Sasha's just re-signed. It seems like they got a lot more for her to do now, and yeah, the best contender for Becky at this time would definitely be Sasha, and that you had on Raw, she lost on the Go Home show, so that's my thinking.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see them walk out with the titles. Moving on, the main event of the evening. No, wait, we have 2. Wait.
We have 2.
I'm so confused. Okay, Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. Kofi retains, right? Randy's a good little match there for Kofi to extend his title reign. I don't think Randy's going to walk out with the title this time around.
I would hope not.
Yeah.
That's not anything against Randy, but how many reigns would that be? 10. It's got to be in the double digits, I think.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah,
he's getting up there. No, we want to see Kofi retain for a little bit longer, and then of course Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. We've already predicted they're going to lose the tag titles in this night. Could Seth walk out with no titles? Walks in Seth 2 belts. Walk out with no titles? Or does he overcome the monster? The beast among men. Monster among men. Wow, fuck me, I'm tired. Does he overcome the monster among men?
I feel like that's what WWE wants to do, but just by heart, I just want Braun to just get that gold. You hear Paul Heyman is high on Braun.
About 3 years too late for Braun Strowman getting
I know, but even if it's too late, just to see him bloody get the belt.
Did you see him do a moonsault at his hotel on his birthday or whatever it was on Instagram?
I heard about that. I didn't watch it.
I want him to bust out a moonsault in this match. He was diving off the rocks into the pool or whatever. And he did a very sloppy backflip. But, possible for a big man. He could do that in the match. I'd be into it. Want to see him do it off a cage.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's have Seth retain here, but then move on to a cage match where Braun Strowman can win with a moonsault off the cage, caveman Ugg style. Let's do that.
Oh, sweet Jesus, yes.
that's my fantasy booking. Now let's take a look at some stuff that we actually find interesting, because that was hard to talk about, to be honest with you, because at the moment, WWE is improving, but until they've held it solid and strong and they're done well-told stories, interesting character development for 6 months, I'm not interested. That's how little faith I have, because every now and then they do this. They go on a little hot run for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's bad for a year. It's not even like Impact where it's 2 or 3 weeks on, 2 or 3 weeks off, but
yes,
they're only a couple weeks away from another hot streak. It sometimes can be a year between good things happening, and so it's I don't know, man. I struggle a lot with WWE at the moment.
Which is why we look for alternatives, and which is why AEW is soon going to be upon us.
But NXT's the real alternative. They've been the alternative for 5 years, Mysterious. There's another Triple H quote from his little press tour where he's not counter-programming and we're the real alternative. Yeah, all right. All Elite Wrestling is the real alternative. You know how you know this?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have things happening like Joey Janela getting jumped at a Blink-182 concert, and then Blink-182 standing there being like, again, Joey? Like, that's how you know they're alternative. They're plugged into the pop cultural vein. Like WWE used to be, right? Like WWE used to be, like in the Attitude Era, it was right there alongside like South Park and shit as like these cultural icons of the time. All Elite Wrestling has the possibility to do that. Did you notice Tony Hawk weighed in on some All Elite Wrestling stuff this week?
As one skateboarder to another, like eyeing up Darby Allin.
Yeah. So he gave the move a name, which I completely disapprove of the name, by the way. So, of course, the move we're talking about is when Darby Allin took the skateboard, which had thumbtacks in the bottom of it, and jumped onto the back of Joey Janela. Which, by the way, he's actually auctioning off that skateboard, complete with Joey Janela's blood on the thumbtacks. That's not going to go to a crazy person at all.
Never.
Our good friend Riley is considered bidding on it. And I was just like, yeah, you would. You would. I do not trust her with Joey Janela's blood. Anyway, Tony Hawk called this move the back disaster. It's, I mean, come on. You know?
You could think better.
You couldn't have called it a tack slide?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, I'm just, and that's just off the top of my head. Like, I'm sure there were other, the back disaster. Come on, he basically did a grind on this dude with thumbtacks in his board. I like the tack slide. That's what I would call it.
That does roll off the tongue, I have to admit.
Yeah. So I'm better at naming skateboarding moves than Tony Hawk. Certified.
You heard it here first,
Is this a skateboarding move or is it a wrestling move?
You would think the back disaster would be like some kind of like top rope backbreaker combination, something. Yeah, not a skateboard.
Yeah, I like the idea of having the slide in it, right? Because it was kind of like a grind. It was like he jumped off and placed the board beneath his feet like he was going up onto a rail for a grind, right?
Yeah.
So I like the tack slide. That's what I'd call it. Tony Hawk, you're basic. He's just a skateboarding legend, you know. I'm just calling him basic, but whatever. Then we've also got match announcements now for Full Gear with All Elite Wrestling. Cody and Jericho going to be the main event. Called it.
You did, and like I love the press conference where they're talking about Cody's track record in singles action. They did mention his draw with Darby Allin and his tag loss, but like in terms of singles action, saying like, oh, he's the most likely contender at this time. So yeah,
given all the things they've talked about with win-loss records are important and everything, and that's why we predicted it. We were like, well, given everything they've said, it makes sense for Cody to be the next challenger. I'm not against it. Not a huge fan of it. I think it'll probably be a good match. What I do find interesting though is that they're announcing these matches, and they're announcing the matches in press releases, and then they're going to let the build happen on TV, presumably, and of course their internet properties. But they're not doing the whole coming out on TV and challenging for matches and announcing matches on TV. It doesn't look like that's going to be the All Elite Wrestling way, which I like that.
Yeah, it's another thing to set them out as like an alternative brand, and
it's refreshing, and it feels more sports-like too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not often like in combat sports, like in UFC or whatever, that you get them calling each other out on the TV show. You know, that's not the TV show is for where the fights take place in the build up to the big cards. You know, it's
where like it's just anything that you just would think seem like a natural choice. Like it seems like AEW are trying to go for that kind of theme, and I'm hoping that it really works out for them. People pay attention to it.
Yeah, not the only match that we had announced though either. We also have Moxley versus Omega. The match is back on. It's happening at Full Gear. Kenny Omega seems to be going a little bit crazy.
He's a little bit upset. I mean, he's not had the best luck in AEW, and like the being the episode, like what time is it in London? How he's just going to town on Moxley, saying like, "I was focusing on you, you were focusing on everyone else," and
yeah, which is why he lost the match.
Yeah, exactly. And like he is talking about like his rise back to, and I do like this. I do like this story because the general audience might not know who Kenny Omega is if they're not fans of New Japan or anything like that. So you get to watch his ascent through the AEW ranks on the TNT show.
Yeah, they get to build him as a star for that mainstream American audience.
Yeah, and I love that idea.
Yeah, definitely. Jericho, though, doesn't need any building, and he is the man. Like, okay, anyone who was saying Jericho was a poor choice for champion and you shouldn't, like, they should have just pulled the trigger on Hangman Adam Page, and we went through this last week and why I think it makes sense for Jericho to be the champion, why I think that, as much as I would have been on board for Hangman Page because they want to be the alternative, they want to be the company that's fresh and new, and they could have done that with Adam Page, but at the same time, Adam Page is an unproven commodity. He's someone no one knows. And we went through all this last week and how really you want to tell the story on TV for the mainstream audience where Kenny Omega or Hangman Page represent that AEW brand. And we called him Boomer Jericho, right? Yeah. But Boomer Jericho, like, Boomer memes have nothing on Jericho memes. He's done it again, man.
The moment we finished that last week's podcast, and it was like, oh, he found the title. Oh, there's the memes come out, and then the more memes, and then even more.
Yeah, so as we recorded
it was crazy.
He had lost the title.
Yes.
And he got the title back. And of course, he's celebrated all along the way. He's celebrated with a little bit of the bubbly. But it didn't take off until after he retrieved the title. And conspiracy theorist Greg in me has to say, were some of those first ones maybe produced by some AEW social media people? Is that possible? Or was this truly organic? It feels truly organic. I mean, I made one myself.
It does. You did. I actually quite liked it. I shared it around.
Yeah. The one in question is Squirtle. If you've seen the one going around that has Ash Ketchum saying, Squirtle, use a little bit of the bubbly. That was me. I did that, and I was quite proud of it, to be honest with you.
It's one of the most creative, but yeah, like it seems like just a very, like it seems like a rock star thing for Jericho, and it seems like just a night out on the town. Like, of course he would be celebrating, and what could have become a horrible situation, like he leaned into it hard, and now like he's owned it. Like, I think one of my favorite ones was the one that he actually shared, where it's like Mambo number 5, but every other phrase is a little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly in my life. A little bit of the bubbly by my side. A little bit of the bubbly makes me your man, or whatever it is. Yeah, the Lou Bega Mambo number 5, bubbly number 5. I think we call the meme. I like the Limp Bizkit one. Did it all for the bubbly. The Powerpuff Girls one as well. Did you see the Powerpuff Girls one?
I share the Powerpuff.
The Powerpuff Girls one is fantastic. I like ones that mix children's cartoons. I don't know why. That was fun. Can someone make it like a Survivor one? There's got to be something on Survivor where like all they need is an idol, right? All I need to save myself tonight is a little bit of the bubbly. Can we get some Survivor Jericho memes? Can that happen? Someone do this, please.
So like, I'm surprised. Like, I think because the police, they find the belt on the side of the road. Someone handed the belt in. They rewarded them. So for a $30,000 belt, the guy who handed it in won $200.
Yeah, $200
he got
reward.
$200.
Very fair. Very fair.
Yeah, very fair.
That came from the limo driver, though, directly. That was a personal reward from the limo driver. That says to me the limo driver fucked up and knows it. Whoops.
But it seems like that AEW wanted to make this like a quiet thing. They wanted to keep this going for as long as they could. But then the police, the Tallahassee Police Department, they spoiled the beans too early that they found the belt already.
Goddamn police ruining a perfectly good wrestling angle. AEW is so good at leaning into things that go wrong, right? Like the Moxley injury, and they just lent into it. They're just like, oh well, this is it, and we just do what we got to do. And they're really good at recovering from these bad situations, because you would think that your champion losing the physical title on the very night he was crowned as the first champion, you would think that's a bad thing. But it's become such big press for them that a little bit of the bubbly was trending worldwide for days. Do you know how hard it is for something to trend for multiple days at a time?
Very hard in
We
this
have a
day and
short
age.
attention span as a society, but no. Wrestling Twitter was ablaze with a little bit of the bubbly. And we were getting drunk off a little bit of the bubbly. I don't know what we were, but it was everywhere. It even made like some mainstream sites like, oh, former WWE champion, first ever AEW champion Chris Jericho lost his belt, and everyone's celebrating with a little bit of the bubbly. Like these weird headlines that are entirely inaccurate, but they're on like the clickbait, like all the lad Bibles and stuff like that. Like it's amazing. This is huge for them. Like
Yes.
even if they didn't recover the belt and they had to make an insurance claim, right? Because they've got insurance on the fucking belt, right? Even if they had to, even if they had to use a backup belt and do an insurance claim and all that sort of stuff, the publicity alone, like, worth every cent.
God, yeah, and you say like making the best out of a bad situation. Like Jericho being in that title picture at all was making the best of a bad situation. With like it was meant to be Park and Omega.
Absolutely, another one where it could have gone very differently, but they had to sort of adjust on the fly. And Jericho this is where I say, like, anyone who still thinks Jericho is the wrong man, you're an idiot, because he still somehow at the age he is. He's more in his prime now than ever. Maybe not physically, but mentally as a wrestling mind. He gets everything over. Look at the list of Jericho. He got the word it over. How do you get the word it to be one of the most over things in wrestling? But for a period of time it was. Drink it in, man. Like every stupid fucking thing this guy does gets over somehow. He's got the magic juice. You just can't argue with it at this point. A little bit of the bubbly. How does that become the most talked about thing in wrestling on a week when Stone Cold Steve Austin is returning to Madison Square Garden, on a week where, we've got NXT moving to USA, you got all these crazy things happening. Anthem just bought, we're about to talk about it, Anthem just bought an entire network because they couldn't get their wrestling show on TV. They're like, we'll just buy the network. In a week where all this is happening, the biggest story is a little bit of the bubbly. And you want to say this guy shouldn't be champion? Yeah. I'm just saying. This guy's got the magic juice.
Like it could have been like that, or him just making fun of Brian Pillman last. Like, nice hair, idiot. That could have been the next one.
That's something else he got over, right? Stupid idiot. How do you get just calling someone a stupid idiot over? It's literally the most basic insult you can think of. Stupid idiot. Like calling someone a Dumbo dummy face is more creative than stupid idiot. And he got stupid idiot over. Nice hair, idiot.
AEW have chosen well, and who knows? I want to see him have a lengthy reign, just for, if nothing else, just to see what other creative stuff he can get.
I don't know how lengthy I want it to be, but I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it for what it is, and this little bit of the bubbly. Like, he's got multiple shirts of this shit now. It's insane. It's just insane. But there's one situation that I'm not sure AEW are handling well. We talk about them, leaning into these situations and really making the most out of it. What is going on with Kylie Ray?
Yeah, I mean, so they announced that they had released her.
She requested,
and like she hadn't been seen. Requested her release. They granted it. Like, she hadn't been seen since Double or Nothing. We don't know why exactly. Like, she left. Like, imagine it had been a personal reason. It could have been her health. Like, we don't know. But the way that they've handled the mystery is left much to be desired.
So Tony Khan didn't say much, and so it's sort of left the impression that it's a personal situation. But then there are some people, some journalists, digging into the story and saying there may be a lot more to it. Nothing has really come out yet, other than the fact that it looks like there's something sus going on. And then you have this whole debate breaking out on Twitter about whether it's ethical or not to be digging into this. To which it's like, okay, this is their job. Now, whether it's ethical to report what they find, different question,
matter.
Different matter. And that's something for the reporters themselves to come up with. And if any decent journalist will have done, ethics in journalism classes and everything. Like, ethics is a big thing in journalism, and you do need to Like, it's part of the job is knowing how to print the pertinent information without revealing the personal things that shouldn't be out there. Like, this is all part of the job. And but whether they should look into it, yeah, they should look into it. If there's something not adding up, you look into it. People who don't want the truth frustrate me.
You need to, even if, like, as much as, like, we think AEW is this like, the great thing, like, if something has been untowards, like, we should know about it as fans.
Absolutely. If she left because someone sexually harassed her, right? Like, just imagine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that happened, of course. Like, I've not read.
No.
I've not read
we're
a single thing that would lead me to believe that at all. But
saying that there was some situation like that.
If there was some situation like that, and you were one of the people being like, well, people shouldn't look into this. Clearly, Tony Khan has said this was a private matter. She asked for her release, and that's that. That's all there is to it. If all you're going to do is buy the company line, now at this point, the company have given us no reason to think that they're going to hide or cover up bad things, right? But if it was something like that, and who knows, if it was a sexual assault situation and they're trying to cover it up and sweep it under the rug, you want journalists to dig. It's their job. Their job is to find out the truth and then be like, oh, okay, that's kind of between them. We'll leave that alone and not report it. Or that's kind of something there that we should report it, because we need to be able to hold people accountable. And you can't just trust a company. You can't just trust a company line. All sorts of dodgy shit goes on all the time. Like, you can't just oh, well, the big company, the big conglomerate have said everything's fine, nothing to see here. She just wanted to leave. Why? Why did she want to leave? She's a young woman at her peak, and this was the biggest moment of her career. She looked poised to be a megastar in this company. She was one of the first women announced signed for the company. She was receiving a major push. She was a huge fan favorite, and she just asked for her release.
Just being complacent in this is not the right way to go about it.
And I felt like I got into this argument online with some people, and I'm like, I don't think, like, if it does turn out to be something completely personal between her and her family or something like that, like, I don't think it should be reported. It should just be reported as a personal issue. But if there's something going on, we want to know about it, because it seems weird that she would just walk away at this point in time.
It's crazy. Like, and, they'll have to rearrange their women's division around her to fill that void, but
it looks like they already have. It looks like they got Riho in there to be their little plucky underdog babyface that gets thrown around a bunch, right? And she's going up against Nyla Rose, yeah.
Nyla, yeah.
Which you got to think that position was originally for Kylie Rae.
You would have thought, yeah, just that it would have made sense with Double or Nothing leading all the way up, and then. Yeah.
But the other, I guess, in better news, though, and something that she's walked away from, which is crazy. I still don't understand. Like, there's got to be something going on. They were doing scans this week. Did you hear about this? Jericho talked about this on his podcast. They were doing scans, and he's not allowed to say if it's for a video game, if it's for action figures. Could be both. Could be neither. Who knows? But they were doing, like, the full body scans and stuff, and he was talking about how cool it was being there with, like, these young guys that have never done anything like this, and he's cranky old Jericho. He's done this a million times, and he just wants to get it over with. But there's, like, MJF and Jungle Boy and all these guys that are just like, holy shit, man, like, we're getting scanned for an action figure or a video game. And he was like, to be around it was just intoxicating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what do you think it's going to be? Both? Video game?
I'm leaning towards both, just because of the, you hear Kenny Omega, he's like, we know it's in the works. It's just a matter of when for the video game. But for the action figures, I've seen MJF, he's very cryptically, kind of not. Just, I think he had a USB thumb drive, and on the thumb drive, like, the little extra piece on the tag was an action figure company. And so just those little cryptic clues that AEW like to do in a couple instances. And I think it's both,
I love MJF so much. I saw him post something, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Instagram, but like someone had sent him a picture of a custom MJF Lego figure that they've made. And he was just like, I think I saw this. Yeah, made by he was Mark. Just like, eh. Like, that's it. His only comment was, eh. Like, someone took their time to create, and it looked good too. Like, it looked just like him. It was a perfect likeness, as perfect a likeness as you're gonna get in Lego, And he was just like, eh. I'm sure he sent them a DM calling them a nerd. Like, him on Being the Elite this week too. He joined the two old guys that do the finger pointing, the agents or whatever they are. And he was just like, I don't like anyone on this roster, but I think I like you guys, because he joined in picking on fucking the Young Bucks Cabana boy.
Yep. Now, Arthur.
I love MJF so fucking much. I know I'm not supposed to, but I do. Now let's get to probably the biggest story of the week. Impact Wrestling. Who would have thought I'd say that, the biggest story of the week? It's a little bit of the Bubbly.
You come over to
a
my
little bit
neck
of the Bubbly,
woods.
followed by Impact Wrestling. Anthem. They bought AXS TV, or bought a controlling stake in AXS TV. How fucking insane is that?
Big ballsy move. Like you saw, we mentioned Chris Jericho. Like he actually like tweeted out to Anthem just saying like, "Good on you for taking the initiative." Like just taking the risk.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's just a bit ridiculous. Like that they couldn't get a TV deal, so they just bought a TV network. Where are they getting this money from? They aren't even able to pay their talent. Killer Cross is going through some kind of legal situation with them at the moment because they were fucking him over money he was supposedly owed. Like, how are you buying a TV station?
Like when you told this news to me, like I said, like it was the Justice League, Batman swooping in as like to save the Kent farm. Like, oh, it was foreclosure with the bank. No, I bought the bank. It's fine.
Wow. Oh God. No, I'm just I'm just at a loss. Where did the money come from? I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all.
So like there's an investor.
The money.
Well, if you follow the money, like Steve Harvey, the presenter, like he's actually co-funding this with Anthem. I think is the story.
Steve Harvey and Mark Cuban already own a stake of AXS TV, I believe, and so now Anthem own the majority stake. Mark Cuban and Steve Harvey still own their stakes as well. So it's like a three-way partnership in this new Anthem Sports. A bunch of people are getting laid off as well. A bunch of people have been made redundant, like over half the staff in a couple of the offices. So, of course, the executives kept their jobs. The executives are safe. Yeah.
Naturally.
But all of the working Joe schmucks and the contractors have all been laid off, and they're with the promise that they may be brought back because their contributions are greatly appreciated. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. What I do know is AXS TV air New Japan Pro Wrestling in America, AXS TV air Women of Wrestling in America. And you got to think now, of course, they're going to put their own Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. It's going to be in more homes than it was on Pursuit. Good for them. So once the Pursuit deal runs out, presumably they'll go straight over to AXS TV. Are they going to keep Women of Wrestling? Are they going to keep New Japan Pro Wrestling? Only time will tell. We don't know enough yet. But it looks like there's a lot of confusion in the offices around what the fuck is going on, and people just being told that they don't need to come to work anymore. And it's, typical Impact stuff.
Yeah. It's all over the place. Like, it's utter chaos, but it seems to all come together.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. You can barely run a wrestling company. Are you sure you can run a network?
They got the Impact Plus, like maybe sales are going well for them. I have no idea.
Sales are not going well for them. Sales are not going well for them. But have you seen the stuff with Killer Cross?
I have. Like, did you hear why? Well, apparently the reason that he has been MIA from the tapings as of late.
No. I all I know is he's in a legal battle with them now over some money.
So part of that is the legal battle with the money, but the other part is, so his last match was at Slammiversary against Eddie Edwards, the first blood match. And naturally in a first blood match, you would think like, okay, someone's going to get cut. In that finish though, he actually used fake blood because Killer Cross, he was not satisfied with the amount of blood testing done beforehand, and he refused to blade. So yeah, that's kind of the reason. Like, the fact Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Safety first, man, and your safety above everything else. If you do not feel comfortable, they can't make you do it, brother. And you're a contractor.
And it's the thing, like people saying like, oh, he he breached his contract. Like, but like that's his health. That's yeah.
I don't think you could ever find a contract that would hold up under law that says you have to cut yourself if we ask you to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, even in performance art, which is a debate that predates the flagship, so you guys lucked out. You don't hear our takes on that. Even in performance art, that's not gonna hold up in a court of law. He has to cut himself because we want it for our show.
Come on,
that's
guys.
Not going to hold up. The judge is never going to rule in your favor.
And like you hear, his girlfriend, like Scarlett Bordeaux, like she's having a WWE tryout at the moment. Like recently, she had a private WWE tryout. But Killer Croc was saying how the money that she was getting from Impact was not enough for her to get out of home. Was barely enough for her. Like she was still working like full-time jobs outside of wrestling. So that was like half the reason that she left as well.
For a place with one of the best women's divisions in the world, historically speaking, Impact Wrestling does seem to have a bit of an attitude towards their women wrestlers. I hope they grow out of it.
It's bizarre, yeah.
It's, Cyrus. He came up in Philadelphia, ECW in the 90s. I don't know. I don't know. Like, you look at Ring of Honor, and the guys that are in charge of the booking and stuff, they're the guys that have influence there, Bully Ray, and the women getting booked are all their girlfriends and stuff. It's not. It seems to me like Philadelphia in the 90s, that wrestling scene doesn't necessarily lend itself. Growing up in that wrestling scene doesn't necessarily lend itself to respecting women workers. It's just the way it seems to me.
And that
Paul Heyman seems to be doing a good job.
Yeah, and like honestly, if with AEW starting up and their like big focus being on women's wrestling as well as tag team wrestling, like you got to think that all the other promotions need to lock down. Like, no, you need to treat your women's division properly.
To step your game up.
Yeah,
hell yeah, you got to step your game up. But yeah, that's it. That's Impact. I guess they got some issues with Killer Cross at the moment. They bought Anthem Sports, bought AXS TV. We'll keep you updated on that as more develops, as we find out more about who's lost their jobs and why, and whether New Japan will be on the network or what have you moving forward. We've got a couple of things to talk about before we go home, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about this Rev Pro situation with there was a tag match at Summer Sizzler last weekend.
Yeah.
Our boys Aussie Open against Shah Samuels and Josh Bodum. And the referee counted the 3 count a bit early by mistake. I think the right team still won, right? Aussie Open won the match and went on to... but I think that the thing was... he counted the 3 count at the wrong spot. Now, after this happened, Shah Samuels sort of... From what we can tell, Shah Samuels was like, that wasn't supposed to be the finish. I'm going to try to... He's thinking on his feet. He's a bit of an old school guy. Yep. He's thinking on his feet. He tries to turn it into an angle. And on the fly, he calls a scoop slam to the ref, right?
Yeah.
These kind of things happen, right? That doesn't seem too out of the ordinary. Shah Samuels looks to have protected him on the way down. Everything seems safe. The ref rolls out of the ring where he is brutally assaulted by Josh Bodum, just laying into him, just angrily beating the shit out of him and dislocating his shoulder from the looks of things. Definitely, he went to work on the shoulder. And that ref is now injured. He's filing a complaint. Josh Bodum has been fired from RevPro as a result, and rightfully so. Shah Samuels is on a last warning. I think that's fair. I think that what Shah Samuels did is completely different to what Josh Bodum did. Have you watched the footage? Have you looked at this situation? How do you feel about this whole RevPro thing?
I think they've handled the situation right. It's just the fact that it's come out how the ref saying like he might never like referee again, like from his injuries, like it was affecting him outside of his wrestling duties. It's like it seemed like it's kind of hard to say, like without being in that situation, like obviously like just thinking on the fly, but Josh Bodum like really took things too far.
Yeah, well, Josh Bodum has a reputation as a cunt anyway. So and it just seems like this is just kind of confirmed. Like Josh Bodum, he only works RevPro. Like he's been blackballed from every other BritRes promotion. And I don't know. I'd recommend going to listen to the Spotlight podcast, the Grapple Spotlight podcast. They break down a lot of this stuff. They throw out some cheeky allegations that maybe he's on steroids and he roided out. But they do actually go into some very nuanced discussion about this and, the generational gap in wrestling training and how someone like Shah Samuels and what he did, like it seems I'm kind of with Shah Samuels on that. Like, make an angle out of it seemed like a good thing to do. Thinking on your feet. I don't think he deserves to be in any trouble at all. But Josh Bodom deserves every single piece of hate that he gets from everything I've heard. And you know, the situation was taken care of. Shah Samuels already slammed the ref. It's already, kayfabe wise, it looks like it's done. You don't need to lay into the guy on the outside of the ring as he's like trying to protect himself. It was just a complete dick move, completely unprofessional. And I hope Josh Bodom never works in wrestling again, even though I'm a fan of his ring work.
Yeah. Like, you can be a fan of someone as a wrestler and just like the person just, yeah.
That's something to talk about. Hit us up on our social medias and at the email, the B+@unchained.media, as to whether you think you can separate art from artist in wrestling. I think you kind of have to, because from what I can tell, most wrestlers are probably dicks.
It can be that like that sometimes, yeah.
I mean, look, let's be real. Let's be real. Do you think you would be friends with Hulk Hogan?
No.
In the 80s?
No.
Do you think you would be friends with Ultimate Warrior? You know? I mean, come on. Historically speaking, wrestlers are these big, egotistical personalities.
Wrestling attracts a certain kind of personality, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think it's changing a lot now. But like I said, it's the generational thing, right? And you listen to the Grapple podcast, they break it down in great detail, and they do a really good job. And I definitely recommend listening to that podcast just in general. Like, I would recommend downloading the Grapple app and getting on and rating matches. You can rate PWA matches, hot dogs and handshakes, coming up this week live on OvoPlay. What's our little fun story that you want to send us home with this week, Mr. Mysterio?
Now, I saw this on the notes, and I just had to look this up because I hadn't seen this yet, and just...
Come on, man, you meant to be living the gimmick.
I'm living the gimmick, just like long lost relations. Like, now you hear all the scams, like, oh, you've have a uncle who's passed away over in Africa, like, to inherit his fortune. You have to, I know, like, and you have people like going on Ancestry and looking up, like, oh, you're half like Irish, you're such and such from Wales, like,
yeah,
all
23andMe, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like Seth Rollins has been looking into some ancestry and found that he has some family.
Yeah, some long lost siblings. I imagine the phone call went very similar. Like, I'm sitting at home. It's a Friday night. I get a phone call. I'm like, oh, that's a number I don't recognize. Where's that from? Iowa? Let's check it out. He's from Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. I thought so. So I check it out and answer the phone. It's like, hello, who's this? Yes, hi, this is WWE's Seth Rollins. I think you're my brother. Yeah, all right, mate. Fuck off. Hang up. Like, you're going to give it as much credence. Oh, yeah, Seth Rollins is my long-lost brother. You're going to give that as much credence as you would the African prince that died and left you his inheritance because you're somehow related to him.
It's the exact of Fighting With My Family, just like Paige had The Rock on, like, trying to talk to her dad, and just like, oh yeah, I'm Vin Diesel, mate, hangs up.
Yeah, and I'm Vin Diesel. Oh, how good is this Nick Frost? Oh,
he's awesome. I love Fighting With My Family.
But yeah, no, it's seriously, that's so crazy that Seth Rollins has some new mooches in his life thanks to this 23andme.com.
Oh, you have to imagine, like, I'd love it if they were wrestling fans.
I have a terrible view of the world.
But no, like, I'd love it if we hear, like, oh no, they were actually wrestling fans, or they had heard of him beforehand, or just like for him kind of explain to him, like, I'm kind of a big deal or something like that, if they weren't wrestling fans.
That's Universal Champion.
Nothing. No.
My dick pics leaked. I'm the man's man. I'm getting married to the man.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, they imagine if they knew Becky Lynch but not Seth Rollins. Oh yeah.
Oh right, the man. Yeah, we know the man. Yeah, I'm her husband. Yes, he has a brother and sister that he never knew existed. That's so crazy. Good for him. I joke when I say they're mooches. I assume they're going to be good people. So it's good for him, man. Finding a lost family. That's got to be a pretty cool situation to be in. Yeah,
absolutely. Just like, and especially like when Seth Rollins, like, he's in his 30s and that now, like, he's at that point of his life where it's like WWE's providing all these like once in a lifetime experiences, and just like, oh no, he's got a long lost brother, long lost sister.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So that does it for us here this week at the B Plus podcast on the flagship show. Let us know what you think of the new format. Let us know if you're digging it, what you think we should change, what you think we should add. Should we do more random Ben Tokyo quizzes with primary colors? Fucking, I'm still mad about that. It was over an hour ago. Let us know what you think, and you can do that. Where can they do it with you, Mr. Mysterious?
You can follow me on all the socials at Mr. Mysterious with 107i on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Grapple. Hit me up. Let me know what you thought about this latest episode of our flagship show. Hopefully, we get to do some research. I don't want to get sprung like this today.
Yeah, and let us know. Let us know if you can separate art from artist. You can let us know that at the B Plus at unchained.media. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter and Stationhead, where you can listen to me spin tracks while I prepare for podcasts, and sometimes I'll get on there and talk to people as well. You can jump on and call on it. It's a really cool app. It's really fun. It's social radio. I'm really getting into it. I am the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.
Catch you guys.